And like the Christians, well, this was an interesting dynamic. I think that Jay Dyer brought out was this whole thing of like in Vatican II, technically the Pope is saying that the Muslim God is the same as the Christian God, but there are plenty of Christians that are like the Muslim God is not our God. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, if they are two distinct different gods, and even with in terms of like Sharia law versus like the Ten Commandments, all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Completely different set of rules as well. So how are we able to judge that unless we have our own independent system ourselves, or that morality or truth is distinct from this aspect of God? You know what I mean? BCL says, if I say I don't believe in any gods, but I believe in the universe, what is your argument about my belief? I don't necessarily disagree with that. When you say you believe in the universe, like what is that entailing? You know what I mean? Like what is that? Like what's the meaning that you're trying to get to behind that? Because if you're asking me, it's like what's the word like what title would you be, or like what like descriptor would you say? Like I'm not even good at them myself. You know what I mean? I get called like a conservative by the leftist. I get called a lefty by the conservatives. You know what I mean? I get called a Satanist or a pagan by the Christians. And then like the atheists call me a Christian. You know what I mean? I'm in a rough spot, boys. I'm in a little bit of a rough spot. But like I said, I'm comfy. You know what I mean? What life's about getting comfy, boys. But yeah, no, like in terms of this whole thing, this is what makes me uncomfortable, because it's like we cannot make this claim that truth or like we could do morality equals God, because as soon as we do the equals, we're fucked. We've shot ourselves in the foot, because how are we able to choose which God? Like how are we able to say that the Christian God is more moral than the Muslim God if we're not Christian? Because for me, it's not this thing up here at the top. What it's supposed to be is truth and morality comes before God, and then you're able to assess if God is good or not. That's why I was bringing up the Euthyphro dilemma. It's the same kind of like concept here. Like, how are we able to say that God is good? Because if God is good, then there's no, we just have to take whatever the system is in the book on faith. There's no independent system that we can work out, because we're saying that God is this system. BCL says, I do not judge anyone. I do not care about any Satanist, Christian, Muslim beliefs, but I trust in the universe, that I think it's my own belief, which is influenced by myself only. Yeah, but like, what do you mean by you believe in the universe? Like, what's the entailment? Like, what's that fundamentally mean? Like, in terms of like the distinction you're making is, I don't believe in God, but I believe in the universe. Like, what is the distinction that you're making there? Like I said, like I can accept that, yes, there seems to be these objective principles. There seems to be, I mean, like we can just like pull up the Heraclitus, how he defines it. Here we go, baby. Vibe says, better add BCL to the fourth god on the list. maybe. Because like I said, it's a certain dynamic. That like if you're talking about like I believe in the universe is in like some sort of like simulation theory and all this stuff, it's like, yeah, you can still abstract a lot of the key principles in terms of like there being an objective truth or objective law that governs the cosmos, all this stuff as well. Coco says, sounds like crystal hippie BS. You know, sounds like some commie gobbledygook. You know, BCL says that my person is not influenced by any religion. I think that my fate is influenced by only me and my own decision, and I'm not judged by anyone doing it. Sorry for making anxious bad. I'm from Europe. Hey, me too. I'm Irish. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like as in you have your own agency, all this kind of stuff, like free will. Like the whole fate thing. I don't believe in fate, because if you're saying that you believe in fate, as in like things are fated to happen, then you're saying that you don't believe in agency, that you don't believe in choice. It's like predetermined or determined in some way, shape, or form, which again I have an issue with. William says, Teriak, I'd say the clips that go after a specific group of people are the ones that should be saved when people pay, like the Jew clip and the LGBT clip. Those types of clips should be saved. Okay. We can do that. We can make a note of that. Whoops. Okay. 100%, William. Appreciate the feedback. And if anyone has any feedback as well, let me know. We are here to accommodate, as they say. So for anyone who doesn't know, Heraclitus, pre-Socratic Greek, meaning he became before Socrates. So Heraclitus would have been influential to the likes of Socrates, Plato, etc., etc. philosopher, basically a couple hundred, 100 years, I think, before Plato, or in around that time. Yeah, used the term logos to describe a fundamental principle of order and knowledge underlying the cosmos. For Heraclitus, the logos is the rational unifying principle that governs the universe, maintaining balance and coherence amidst constant change. He saw it as the eternal truth or reason that structures reality, often expressed through the interplay of opposites, e.g., day and night, life and death, hot and cold, war and peace, etc., etc. In his famous fragment, he states, although the logos is common, most people live as if they had their own private understanding, suggesting that the logos is a universal truth accessible to all, yet often misunderstood or ignored. Heraclitus also associated the logos with fire, viewing it as the elemental force driving transformation and unity in the cosmos. It is both the process of change and the underlying harmony that persists through it. In essence, the logos is the rational structure of reality, the law of change, and the interconnectedness of all things. So, like I said, if I was to replace logos with God is a fundamental principle of order and knowledge underlying the cosmos. For Heraclitus, God is the rational unifying principle that governs the universe, maintaining balance and coherence amidst constant change. He sees God as the eternal truth or reason that structures reality, often expressed through the interplay of opposites, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, boys? Oh, we have that. Coco saying 500 BC, Heraclitus is an OG. He's, yeah. If he was alive right now, he'd be very old. He'd be a very, very, very old man. What I'm trying to get at here is when you look at the likes of Heraclitus, Plato, basically any of the ancient Greek philosophers, like they're pointing towards this whole aspect of like there are these like objective truths, objective laws that govern the cosmos. And what the likes of like Jay Dyer, Jim Bob, etc. are talking about when they're saying that aspect of God is like God is truth, or God is logos, or God is logic. Like that's what they're trying to point towards. What I'm saying is I don't need to personalize. I don't need to bring in the deity of God. I just say that these laws simply are. You know what I mean? Logic simply is. It does not need a why. You know what I mean? BCL says, I was mistaken saying fate. Actually, I think fate is influenced by decisions you make along your life. But my point is that I do not believe in any religions nor gods to be affiliated. Yeah, 100%. Like that's my main kind of like vibe here, where I'm saying that it's like, well, if we can all agree that pursuing truth is good, you know what I mean? Then like all I need is the logos. All I need is truth. I don't need a why. You know what I mean? I don't need a personification to justify. You know what I mean? It just simply is. You know what I mean? Truth is what is. You know? It is what it is. William says, Tarek, it seemed like John Smith isn't a huge fan of the LGBT clip. Play the... This is John when he sees the LGBTQ clip.
You people disgust me.
I fucked it up. The comment was hiding it. One sec. We'll get a double. We get a double, boys.
You people disgust me.